Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching. Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon, a retired NYPD detective with 20 plus years in law enforcement. And if you like all things true crime from a police perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon when I go live or when I update another video or another case. Today, we're going to talk about little baby Thomas Valva, who was murdered by his father, re- former police officer, transit police officer Michael Valva, and his step monster, Angela Pollina. This happened in January of 2020, January 19th, and we're going to get into it in a few. Special thank you to my moderators, my channel members, my Patreon supporters, and everyone who positively interacts on all of the live streams that we do across the board. You guys have shown respect and dignity for the victims and families throughout all the different cases that we cover. And I want to say a special thank you to all of you, the community here who positively interacts and supports family members and supports the streams. So thank you to each and every one of you. I tip my cap to all of you guys. So as you know, this is a case which I covered. Shelley, great to see you. Let me say hello quickly to a couple of people before we get going. I know some people don't like this, but let me say hi to Dawn Marie, Beth, Linda, Princess Michelle, Diane King, Sundry Curtis. Hello, Shelley. Good to see you. Lake Lizard. Hi, Leanne. Mimi J2, great moderator. Kathleen, Sheila from Ireland, but here in the United States. Frankendahl, thank you for joining. Pamela, hello, hello, hello. Great to see you all. Danny, thank you so much. Heather, let me know in the chat if the audio is good by putting a 1. So this way I know the audio is good and that we're on board. I'll give you a little bit of an update on this case. There's a pre-trial hearing that's going on in Riverhead in the courthouse. Angela Pollina and Michael Valva, their attorneys are fighting to suppress evidence. They're fighting to suppress evidence in this case. Hi, Diane. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. All right, we're getting a bunch of number ones. Janine Goodwin, thank you. Richella Pranzo, good to see you. Excellent. They're heading out to the city. I just got home a little while ago from the beach. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to make it there tonight, but send my regards to everybody. I will be there on the next time we get together. Tonight is just a little too hectic for me, and I got a couple of things going on. My central air is acting up, and I'm waiting for a service call. So they should be here between 6 and 7:30 ish. So I'm waiting for that. It hit up into the 80s today, and when I was at the beach, unbeknownst to me, my central air stopped working. So that's what we got going on here. All right, so to refresh everyone's memory, this is a horrific, horrific crime that occurred right here in my backyard in Long Island in Suffolk County. Thomas Valva was left out in a garage, unheated, with 19 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. He died of hypothermia and probably a host of other things that we will hear about, unfortunately, during the course of this criminal case as it goes forward. The defense, which, as we know from Joe Murray, the defense has a job to do. They are there to defend their clients. Now, I don't know how these defense attorneys can operate with two evil, sick monsters, Michael Valva, Angela Pollina. I don't know how they can defend them, but it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Now, again, it's afforded to us under our rights, under the Constitution. So they are fighting to suppress the video evidence that was recovered by the Suffolk County Homicide Squad detectives. And they're fighting to suppress the consent that was given by Angela to search the home subsequent to little baby Thomas being found unresponsive. So they're trying to say that Angela was under the influence of narcotics because they gave her a Xanax in the hospital. This is all from the defense side, and they're saying that she was not in any condition, as we know from Christine Engelhardt case. She was under the influence of drugs and alcohol and was raped and killed in her hotel room. She was unable to give consent, and that's a fact. And that's one of the factors that is going to make the two animals that killed her and raped her get charged. So these defense attorney, well, the defense attorney for Angela Pollina is claiming that his client was under the influence of Xanax given to her by the hospital. Therefore, she was unable to give consent for the detectives to go and take the evidence. The Ring or Nest video camera, I'm not sure exactly what system they had there, but it was audio and video inside the home. And we're going to hear a little bit about what goes on in this case and what they're fighting for. This is pre-trial. The trial has not started, and the defendant's defense attorneys are also asking the prosecution and well, asking the judge to split this case up and not try them together. Because as you know, if you're following this case, they were engaged. That was his fiance, and while they were in jail, the potential marriage, there was no future for them. So they called off their engagement. So they are no longer fiance and potential husband and wife to be. Let's listen to a little bit of this audio is going to be low. So here's the disclaimer: don't start huffing and puffing that the audio is low. I'm going to play the early press conference from the Suffolk County Police Commissioner, Geraldine Hart. She's no longer the commissioner, but this was Geraldine Hart in early 2020 giving a synopsis. Thank you for the super sticker, Richella Pranzo, and Pete going into Bardo in New York City. I hope you guys have a great time. Be safe. And I know Pete is definitely packing. Pete Pranzo, Lieutenant Pete is packing. That's a tongue twister. Okay, so the audio is going to be low on this, so don't crucify me. But I want you guys to hear. So turn up your volumes and put maybe some earphones in. For some reason, this doesn't play as good as it should, but I want you to hear what the Suffolk County Police Commissioner Geraldine Hart describes this case early on. I'm going to give you guys a background. This is going to be from the very beginning. So let's cue this up. I don't have Josher on my staff today. Josh is a busy fella, so I don't have him on my staff.
Thank you.
So bear with me on this, please. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Get your headphones ready. It's going to be low.
Thank you, Don. Good afternoon. Before we begin, I want to express. Before we begin, I want to express my sincerest condolences to Thomas Valva's family and friends, especially his siblings. We are here to discuss the arrests of Michael Valva and Angela Pollina for the death of Michael's 8-year-old son.
Again, for anybody coming in, it's going to be a little low, but this is the police commissioner, and this is early on when he first was arrested, when Michael Valva was first arrested and Angela Pollina. So I think it's important that we hear this.
Thomas. The couple has been charged with murder in the second degree because they engaged in conduct which created a grave risk of death to this child. Thomas Valva was subjected to freezing temperatures in the home's unheated garage overnight when the outside temperature was 19 degrees. We first responded to 11 Bittersweet Lane in Center Moriches on January the 17th at 9:40 a.m. after Michael Valva reported that his son Thomas fell in the driveway while waiting for the school bus an hour earlier. Michael indicated that his son lost consciousness after the fall, but has remained unconscious. When the officers arrived, Michael Valva was performing CPR on his son in the basement. Thomas was transported to Long Island Community Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. At the time of his arrival at the hospital, Thomas's body temperature was 76 degrees. As with any unattended death, homicide detectives conducted an investigation which revealed inconsistencies in the timing and the nature of the child's injuries as reported by his father. We have determined Thomas was never in the driveway that morning, and he suffered head and facial injuries that were not consistent with the father's account. During the past week, homicide detectives conducted a round-the-clock investigation, which included the review of video and audio recordings captured on the family's home surveillance system, both inside and outside the house. The recordings show the pair was closely monitoring the activities and conversations of their 6 children, Michael's 3 sons, ages 6, 8, and 10, and Angela's daughters, 11-year-old twins and a 6-year-old. We believe that the 10 and 8-year-old boys were subjected to punishment, including food deprivation and exposure to extremely frigid temperatures. We are still investigating the extent of the abuse and if it extended to all the children. Following Thomas's death, the department notified Suffolk County CPS and assisted in the emergency removal of the other 5 children on January the 17th. The children are currently in a safe environment. These arrests are not the end of the investigation. We are still processing evidence and conducting interviews. This case has hit our department hard, even the most seasoned detectives. I would like to thank our homicide squad for their countless hours in seeking justice for this little boy. I would also like to acknowledge and thank all the agencies that assisted us in this investigation: the New York City Police Department, the East Moriches School District, the FBI, the Department of Social Services, the Medical Examiner, and the District Attorney's Office. I'll take any questions that you might have. So the medical examiner has ruled it a homicide with a major contributing factor.
I'm going to let me stop this.
Just one at a time.
All right, that gives you a good background on the severity of the conditions, the severity of what happened to little baby Thomas Valva. As his mom, Justina, calls him Tommy. Little baby Tommy was a fighter, was a strong boy. He withstood so much in such a period of time. We don't even know how long he was taking this abuse. His brothers were subject to it as well. Both Andrew and Anthony, along with Thomas, they were there to witness what was going on. So my prayers and thoughts are always with the Zupko Valva family. Justine Zupko is a strong woman as well. So Justina, she is fighting for justice for her son. She's fighting for justice against the system. Now, don't forget the schools. We're going to hear now about how the schools made over 20 calls to CPS and child welfare with nothing, zero. All of the cases were either closed or unsubstantiated, which to me is mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. Let's just listen quickly. Sheila, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I greatly appreciate that. Let me just move this up so you guys can hear a little bit more of some media here. I just want to back up what I'm doing here. So Sheila says, DutyRon, this is for our channel to do with as needed. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheila. God bless you. All right. So this is going to be from News 12. Again, this is going to go over some stuff. The volume is going to get loud. So now the volume is going to be a little bit louder. I'm going to try to lower it if I can. So give me 2 seconds. I don't want to hurt anyone's ears. So get ready for a little bit of louder volume here.
Year-old Severance boy, as an NYPD police officer and his fiancée are now indicted in that child's murder. News 12's Kevin Vesey is the very latest in a story you saw first on 12.
He was only 8 years old.
Justina Zupko Valva sobbed uncontrollably and held a picture of her 8-year-old son Thomas, who authorities say was killed by his own father, NYPD officer Michael Valva, and his fiancée Angela Pollina. According to prosecutors, the pair forced the boy to sleep in their freezing Center Moriches garage last month, and he died of hypothermia the next morning.
It was clearly a house of horrors.
Today, the couple was indicted on second-degree murder and child endangerment charges in the young boy's death. In court, prosecutors outlined what they say was a long history of abuse against Thomas and his older brother Anthony, including a lack of basic hygiene.
They often came to school so soiled that school employees could smell urine and feces about their bodies.
Prosecutors also say the boys were deprived of food to the point that they
All right, so we just heard the prosecutor in Suffolk County say that the boys came to school so soaked in urine that it would be sloshing in their shoes and their clothing soaked in urine. That to me it takes an evil monster. And we see at the end of this bench right here, the face of evil, Michael Valva, the boy's own father. There he is. This is the boy's own father who did this to him. And I don't know what type of, evil thinking or what type of, how he grew up or what went wrong so fast. But this is sickening.
Prosecutors outlined what they say was a long history of abuse against Thomas and his older brother Anthony, including a lack of basic hygiene.
They often came to school so soiled that school employees could smell urine and feces about their bodies.
Prosecutors also say the boys were deprived of food to the point that they scavenged for scraps at school.
The children took to eating crumbs off tables, pulling uneaten food out of the garbage.
Eating uneaten food out of the garbage. This is the Suffolk County prosecutor. This is the Suffolk County DA's office. Now look at this stenographer, this blonde girl right here, right to her left. She's mortified because the stenographers don't know what the prosecution's going to say. They're typing it all in and they're doing their stenographer work. But she looks shocked at what she's hearing. The stenographer says it all right there.
Cool.
The children took to eating crumbs off tables, pulling uneaten food out of the garbage, and taking food from other children.
And authorities say the children were repeatedly forced to sleep in the cold garage without blankets, pillows, or a mattress as a cruel form of corporal punishment. Authorities tell us it all happened under the watch of the family's surveillance cameras. And on the day Thomas was killed, prosecutors say Valva could be heard on tape, callously mocking his dying son.
This defendant said, "This stupid son of a fell headfirst into the concrete twice."
And as part of their investigation, prosecutors say they're putting together a complete timeline of every interaction the family had with government agencies, including law enforcement and child protective services. Justina says there were years of complaints, but they all fell on deaf ears.
Where were you when I begged you for help? When you could have saved my child's life?
That's the mother.
Where were
That
you?
is her. This is Justina Zupko Valva. I'm not even going to say Valva. It's Justina Zupko. She is saying to all of the work CPS workers, all of the people who had their hands, and they could have put in action to save Thomas. The police department, the CPS, the teachers, the judges, the judge in family court who gave Michael custody. This is her. This is a mother. This is a grieving, crying mother crying out in court. This is well over a year ago. And this is an impactful, very, very strong statement. And she's made dozens and dozens more since this. This woman is a rock.
Where were you when I begged you for help? When you could have saved my child's life?
Disgusting.
Well, both Valva
right.
and Pollina pleaded not guilty today. They're being held without bail and, if convicted, could face life behind.
They deserve life behind bars. But unfortunately, right now, as we stand, their criminal defense attorneys, I'm going to give you an update right now. We're going to go right into it. And this is Mary Murphy. This is Angela's defense attorney, Angela Pollina. This is from yesterday.
Hearing.
I am, yes.
You're planning on putting Angela Pollina on the stand during this pretrial hearing.
I am, yes.
And why do you want to do that?
Well, I mean, there are some legal issues that need to be, I guess, answered, and she's going to get up and give her side of the story. It's very, very important as we move forward.
What's the specific issue?
Well, I mean, there are a couple of issues. I mean, the first issue is, and I think the issue that is foremost is that she never gave any permission at all for the police to begin an investigation at her house. She never gave any permission at all. So that is obviously the first issue. And the second issue begins with her at the hospital being questioned by Detective Flores while she was in the hospital bed. And then the next issue would be when she comes back to the house, and then Detective Flores initiates a second aggressive interview with her. So that's really what she wants, to get up and give her side of the story.
Well, we're hearing this very damaging footage of what happened to Thomas in the garage and other parts of the house.
No, that's not the issue, and that's not what's going to be, my understanding, a part of the hearing. Part of the hearing are the issues that.
So he is saying what we heard him here. This is the defense attorney for Angela Pollina, not for Michael Valva. He is saying that they were aggressive with her and that she was unable to give consent. So I'm going to play it back again so you guys can hear what he was saying here. And this was just the other day in court. She is going to be back on. She's going to actually testify tomorrow. Angela Pollina is going to testify tomorrow in this pretrial hearing to suppress the searched evidence. That's the video of the boy, of little baby Thomas. I hate to say it, but essentially dying on video, and the two of them laughing and carrying on and joking about it. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's despicable. If there was a firing squad available, now God please forgive me, I would pull the trigger any day on both of them.
Aggressive interview with her. So that's while she was in the hospital bed, and then investigation at her house. And I think the issue that is foremost is that she never gave any permission at all for the police to begin an investigation at her house. She never gave any permission at all. So that is obviously the first issue. And the second issue begins with her at the hospital being questioned by Detective Flores while she was in the hospital bed. And then the next issue would be when she comes back to the house, and then Detective Flores initiates a second aggressive interview with her. So that's really what she wants, to get up and give her side of the story.
Well, we're hearing this very damaging footage of what happened to Thomas in the garage and other parts of the house.
No, that's not the issue, and that's not what's going to be, my understanding, a part of the hearing. Part of the hearing are the issues that we've been arguing right now, which is, number one, that the police, the exigency had expired, and the police stayed without permission. So that's really the first issue that she's going to testify and clarify plainly, which is a huge issue. It's a huge issue. The second issue is her at the hospital being questioned while she was medicated. There are medical records that are certified that show she was given Xanax. And then
there it is, right there. This is what a shark. This is, again, this guy has a job to do. I'm not saying that he is evil, but for me, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I couldn't do this job. I'm telling you, for me, I could never do this job, because as a police officer, my job was to help people. And guess what? This to me is a job that I would just not want to be able to take on. He is saying that she was under the influence of Xanax prescribed to her by the hospital because she was a distraught step monster. I say that is bullshit. And I use the F word there. That is bullshit. Ooh. I didn't get that last piece. Disgusting.
She was questioned aggressively, didn't want to really talk to the detective. And then the third part would be her arriving back at the house from the hospital, where the Detective Flores initiates another conversation, which was aggressive. So those are really the parameters of the hearing. This isn't going to be another trial, a trial within a trial. Certainly there'll be aggressive cross-examination. All the witnesses have been aggressively cross-examined. But hey, look, she wants to get up there and give her side of the story. What's clear and what you can glean from all the witnesses is that in this particular situation.
That's a good comment right there. Alexandria Supernova says, I despise the job he has to perform. I do not despise him as a human being. I agree 100%. I've been around defense attorneys. One of my good friends, Joe Murray, is a defense attorney. He is here in the chat. There's a job to be done, and everybody's rights, everybody's constitutional rights needs to be protected. But when you hear things like this, and we know from the prosecution, right after this, I'm going to play again what the prosecution has and what they saw on video. This is what he's looking to suppress because obviously it's going to hurt his client. So he is having to do his job, and he is looking like a demon, like an evil man. But just as the sanitation workers come to pick up our trash and all our garbage that we put out, he has to protect garbage.
It appears that she's nowhere when this tragedy happens. She's in the kitchen. She's not around. You know, she lives there. She had no part of it at all. And all the testimony from all the witnesses shows her trying to assist the boy, being distraught about what had happened to him. And really, you know, she is situated completely in a different direction than Mr. Valva. I mean, so she's innocent.
She's innocent. Do you hear those words? I knew that was coming. So he just painted a picture for Miss Murphy that she didn't know what was going on in the house. She had no clue. But we know that the prosecution said that they sent messages back and forth to each other that poor baby Thomas was face planting in the garage because his legs were giving out in 19 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. We know that his client and and Michael Valva were joking and laughing about Thomas losing his bodily functions and having to go to the bathroom. And Michael Valva's response was, "That's too bad." It's sickening. You guys know how emotionally attached I am to this. This is
she's in the kitchen.
Horrific.
She's not around. You know, she lives there. She had no part of it at all. And all the testimony from all the witnesses shows her. This isn't going to be another trial, a trial within a trial. Certainly it'll be aggressive cross-examination. All the witnesses have been aggressively cross-examined. But hey, look, you know, she wants to get up there and give her side of the story. What's clear and what you can glean from all the witnesses is that in this particular situation, it appears that she's nowhere when this tragedy happens. She's in the kitchen. She's not around. You know, she lives there. She had no part of it at all. And all the testimony from all the witnesses shows her trying to assist the boy, being distraught about what had happened to him. And really, you know, she is situated completely in a different direction than Mr. Valva. I mean, so she's innocent. And she, you know, to her credit, she wants to get up and talk and explain things.
I can't wait to hear this tomorrow. She's going to get up and talk and explain things. I'm not sure what you can explain. We have a dead boy here, 8 years old, would have been 9. And we have an entire family ripped apart.
It'll be much clearer for people to see. And we'll take it from there. And I'm going to contemplate what I'm going to do after the hearings is put forth another bail application, because my perception is from the hearings is that she should not be remanded at this point.
He is going to propose that she gets released on bail. Let me just tell you something. She's not going to get bail. That's a pipe dream, and that's what any good defense attorney would try to do. So he's going to try to get her bail. I think not. I think that judge is going to be bail denied for both of them. So we're going to hear about that. We're going to hear about Laturco and company and this guy trying to get bail for their clients and get them out. Let me see what else we got here. I got one more piece that I want to show you guys. Stand by. The housekeeper testified in this pretrial hearing. I'm going to show you this quickly on screen. Bear with me. So here's the housekeeper Tareen Rodriguez, the housekeeper for Thomas, Valva, and Angela Pollina, inside the courtroom in Suffolk County and Riverhead Monday. So she testified that that she saw what was going on, but it was a regular day. The date was January 17th, 2020, when he died, and I said the 19th in the beginning, but I stand corrected. That's when these two animals were arrested. It was the 19th. I want to play this quickly. This is Angela Pollina on Monday in jail. Well, out of jail, but in the courtroom, and that's her defense attorney there.
What does good food mean to you?
We don't need to hear this commercial, but we'll watch it. Ooh, look at those raviolis. Look at the cake. All right. As soon as this is up, I'll undo it. I had to take my ad block off for this. Sorry, guys. If you see something, say something. Yes, Monica. Yes. All right, here we go. Uncle Giuseppe's.
The police stayed without permission. So that's really the first issue that she's going to testify and clarify plainly, which is a huge issue. The second issue is her at the hospital.
There's a look at evil, folks. This is evil in the flesh. Her family was there to support her. This is Angela Pollina, the step monster who was instrumental in the death of baby Tommy Valva. That's the face of evil, folks. And you got a good look at her right there. Disgusting.
Being questioned while she was medicated. You know, there are medical records that are certified that show she was given Xanax, and then she was questioned aggressively, didn't want to really talk to the detective. And then the third part would be her arriving back at the house from the hospital, where the detective Flores initiates another conversation, which was aggressive. So those are really the parameters of the hearing. She wants to get up there and give her side of the story, and what's clear and what you can glean from all the witnesses is that in this particular situation, it appears that she's nowhere when this tragedy happens. She's in the kitchen. She's not around. You know, she lives there.
How is being in the kitchen not around? Sickening to hear it.
She had no part of it at all. So she's innocent. And she, to her credit, she wants to get up and talk and explain things. It'll be much clearer for people to see.
Much clearer for people to see. Huh. By a show of hands in the chat, by putting a 1 in the chat, do you think Angela Pollina tomorrow, by testifying, is going to make things clearer for us? By a show of hands, number 1, if you think she's full of, by a number 2, if you think that she's going to make it clearer. Let's get a poll going and see who thinks that Angela Pollina getting up on the stand is going to make things clearer. Come on, give me a break. That is reaching at its best. Thank you. Ridiculous. All right, so thank you guys. I knew it. I mean, I knew it. Okay, so ex-cop Michael Valva, here is the 911 call. I'm going to tell you guys quickly, if you suffer from PTSD, this is the father of Tommy Valva, the person who killed him, calling 911 that day. It's the 911 call. If you suffer from PTSD or things like this can get you upset, he is on here talking about his son not breathing, and he's doing chest compressions, and he's counting them out, and he's asking for ETAs. He identifies himself as a New York City police officer. Let's play the audio so you guys can hear it. Again, if you're suffering, if you suffer from that stuff, I would say step out.
The 911 call told one story. Now former cop Michael Valva and his ex-fiancée Angela Pollina are fighting hard to keep Ring cameras from their home out of the evidence in their murder trial. They allegedly show Valva's 8-year-old son Thomas dying a slow, torturous death in a freezing garage.
I don't know if his heart stopped. He fell down on his way to the bus. He banged his head pretty good.
It was January 17, 2020, and prosecutors say Thomas actually keeled over onto the concrete garage floor. Pollina's defense attorney suggested to lead detective.
That's the lead detective who made the arrest right there. He looks like a friend of mine, Jimmy Secreto from New York City, but this is the lead detective who made the arrest.
Norberto Flores that he badgered Pollina for access to the house cameras when she was traumatized and under the influence of Xanax.
She was given Xanax, and that's what I aggressively question him on.
So you're saying she wasn't in right mind to make any decisions?
Well, she wasn't able to consent at that point. I mean, he was pressuring her.
The in-house cameras are crucial to the DA's case. The prosecutor said last year that one camera allegedly showed Pollina dragging Thomas down a staircase a day and a half before he died because he had soiled his pants. Pollina's lawyer wants his client to get her own trial, and he's filed for severance. Pollina will blame Michael Valva for his son's death.
We are making a similar motion.
This is Luterco, Michael Valva's defense attorney.
Indicating that Angela Pollina's
son's death.
We are making a similar motion indicating that Angela Pollina was primarily responsible for the death of Thomas Valva.
Okay, so here's what you have. This is classic. They're both pointing fingers at each other. The two defense attorneys are doing this. My client didn't do it. She did it. My client didn't do it. He did it. She did it. She did it. He did it. That's what they're trying to do here. That's the approach that they're taking. I personally think it's not going to work. I think they're both going to do the rest of their years. They're going to serve the rest of their natural born lives behind bars. Because as we know in the state of New York, nobody gets the death penalty here. It's not even on the books anymore. So we need to seek justice, and the two of these evil monsters need to stay behind bars where they belong. And this is his defense attorney for Michael Valva.
That she was in control of the discipline for the death of Tom, indicating that
Valva for his son's death.
We are making a similar motion indicating that Angela Pollina was primarily responsible for the death of Thomas Valva.
Bullshit.
That she was in control of the discipline in that family.
Thomas and his two brothers were living with Valva and Pollina for a couple of years in Suffolk County. Teachers at the brothers' school made at least 20 calls to a state child abuse hotline.
Teachers at Thomas's school made at least 20 calls to a state hotline for child abuse. How does that happen? How does 20 calls from a school get swept under the rug? Get no investigation. Nothing happens. How happen? How does that happen?
Saying the boys came.
Pollina was primarily responsible for the death of Thomas Valva. That she was in control of the discipline in that family.
Thomas and his two brothers were living with Valva and Pollina for a couple of years in Suffolk County. Teachers at the brothers' school made at least 20 calls to a state child abuse hotline, saying the boys came to school with bruises and scrounged for food in garbage cans. The pretrial hearing will now move into a second week.
Disgusting. It's sickening. Sickening. Inner peas. That's terrible. This system is broken United States wide. Throughout the United States, it needs to be dismantled and redone. It's failed one too many children, and Thomas is a classic and prime example of the failures of the system. I'm trying to get up one more piece before we wrap it up. All right. Unfortunately, I have to show this to you. This is some pictures from court, and it's Michael Valva with his attorney in court. He's looking real raggedy, and I'm glad that he is looking raggedy. I'm glad he's not having a good time. Angela crying that she's not free. She's not crying over the death of Tommy Valva, she's crying because she's in jail. Don't be mistaken by this show of crying. The crying is because she's locked up. It's not because she's sad and sorry for what she did. She's crying for herself. Very good. Inner peace, 100%. I concur with you 1000%. These tears of emotion are not about what happened to poor Thomas and the amount of torture, the tremendous amount of torture that he had to endure over those 2 years in custody of this animal. I don't care. Her family lives right in the same town I live in. And I don't care. This is sickening on so many different levels, and you can never tell me that this is okay. Isn't that a shame? She's looking back at her family probably in court because they came there to support her. Well, guess what? Evil doesn't get to be with their family. Evil gets to be put behind bars. You get to be locked away because you do not deserve to be out free in the public when you do something like this to another human being, no less a little child, 8 years old, an autistic boy. I'm sorry, folks. I don't feel sorry one bit for these two. And I don't think any of us do here. I just want to make sure I sometimes miss some of the stuff that I want to share with you guys. So I'm just going to double check before we close it. Anybody have any questions or anything like that? The pre-trial hearings are to suppress the evidence, the Ring or Nest video camera footage, the search inside the house. They're saying that she was unable to give consent. Hold on a second. Let me just see. I think I missed a super sticker. Thank you, KNS, for the $10 super sticker. And thank you to everyone who has given and that I might have missed. I'm trying to stay focused on topic here. So tomorrow, Angela will be in court to give, I will give you an update on that. She's going to be in court tomorrow to give her testimony, and I hope that it's not going to help her. I don't think it will. I think the judge is going to say bail denied for both of them, and I really feel that a separation of these two cases, that may have a better chance of happening. I don't know how strong of a case they would have to argue that, to try them separately, but I think that will be ultimately up to the judge. I'm just looking at my second screen. Mary Murphy from Pix 11 has covered this case very well. I want to just say kudos to Mary Murphy. Here's one thing. Here's another thing. The little Tommy was tortured and kept in 19 degrees Fahrenheit in the garage, and he died of hypothermia. But their family dog was in a heated, he slept in a heated room while little Tommy froze inside a garage. So this is another, I got to show you this because I want you guys to see how heinous these people are. So here is the headline: NYPD cops dog slept in a heated room while his son froze to death in the garage. And this was testimony. Sickening, just sickening. And that comes from, I believe, the housemaid. I'll read it to you guys quickly. In Riverhead, former NYPD cop Michael Valva wiped tears from his eyes as a family housekeeper recounted the harrowing last minutes of his 8-year-old son's life at a pretrial hearing in his murder case Monday. But there was a brief moment in the housekeeper's testimony that almost escaped notice. When Tareen Rodriguez, that's the housekeeper, talked about getting her cleaning supplies in the mudroom where the family dog Bella stayed, Suffolk County prosecutor noted, "And that's a heated room, correct?" And the housekeeper responded, "Yes." At the heart of the prosecution's case is medical evidence that Thomas Valva died of hypothermia after being forced to sleep in a freezing garage without heat while it was 19 degrees Fahrenheit on a cold winter night. The dog, meanwhile, slept in a heated room on that same floor, the very same floor where Thomas Valva died of hypothermia. Their family dog was afforded a room with heat. That is profound. That is despicable and disgraceful. I'll leave you guys with that. Again, support these families and the victims of all of this type of child abuse and neglect. We heard about Amari Nicholson. We heard about the boy in Texas. We hear about Cannon Hinnett over in the South being shot by his neighbor and killed. These are all little kids, little babies. And we can go on and on and on and on and on and talk about these things. You know, I went with Diane, my neighbor across the street, to the funeral of this little angel, Thomas Valva. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. It was really sad going to a funeral home and seeing a little boy in a white suit in a casket. It was just so terrible. So it made me sick to think about two human beings, two men, a man and a woman, two people taking a little boy's life. It's just heartbreaking. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this video, put it out onto social media platforms. We need to talk about this. I'm going to follow this case when the trial starts. I'm going to try to get out to Riverhead and listen to the opening arguments. I need to hear the opening arguments on this case. I really need to hear it. I'm going to try to be in that courtroom if I can. If I can't, I'm going to still go out there and see what I can do. Support Justina Zupico Valva. Support Justina. She's well spoken. She's talking about the corruption in CPS, in Suffolk County, and Nassau County Family Court. All of the things that have let her down and her family. This is just one example of hundreds, thousands of people across the United States who are wronged by the system. We need to talk about it. We need to put it out there, and I'm happy to put it on my platform and get the word and the message out there. I will be live tomorrow night at 7:15 Eastern with a NYPD retired forensics artist. I'm going to have Stephen Mancusi. He is a forensics artist from the NYPD, and we're going to talk about age progression and how the artists for the police departments do age progressions for missing children and missing persons case. We're going to talk about the Orrin and Orson West case. And we're going to also talk about sketch art and how they create sketches of wanted rapists and murderers when there's no photographs available. So it's going to be an intriguing, interesting live stream tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. I have it scheduled. I'll link it down below. But please do me a favor. Anytime you hear there's a fundraiser or anything where you can help victims, families of victims like Thomas Valva, dip into your pocketbook and help them out if you can, even if it's $1. These folks need the support. They need us to be behind them. And there's so many great people in the Justice for Thomas Valva Facebook group and in the groups that are out there on Long Island here, because we're Long Island strong. We're going to stand with Justina along the way of the criminal justice process. And I know she doesn't trust it, and God knows that she has no reason to trust it because it completely failed her. From the police, the CPS, the teachers tried to do the right thing. They tried to do what they could. Everybody along the line failed because nobody took the extra steps, including a neighbor, which we come to find out. And I'm not saying that they failed, but there was a neighbor whose husband was a Suffolk County police detective. And, you know, you're living right next door to a house of horrors. Now, we don't have, access to people's homes, and we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But God, If you see something funky, you got to say something. You know, if something's not right, don't just sit there and say, it's not none of my business. Make it part of your business. So, as I like to end all these live streams, God bless the world, God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, and all victims of crime, and the families of these crime victims across our country, across the globe. I will have defense attorney Joe Murray chime in on Thursday night. He'll chime in with me, and we will talk about this case, because Angela will be testifying tomorrow, and I will have defense attorney Joe Murray, if he's available, to come on, and we will discuss this case and break it down. Mary London, great to see you. I'm not going to do the handcuff clicks. Thank you, Carol Loving Alaska, Gil Sharp, Cookie. Thank you so much, Boxing MMA. Special thank you to the replay viewers, my channel moderators, the channel members, the folks who positively interact here in the live stream. I didn't even get a chance to do the roll call. So let's end this with a roll call and some prayer emojis and blue hearts for baby Thomas Valva and his family. Some emojis of prayer and blue hearts, and maybe where you're watching from. And let's let this end out. I will just pause and look at the comments quickly, and I'll let this run out. Thank you, Richella. Have a great time. Be safe in the city, and give Bill Cannon and Mark DeMeo a hug from me, and watch them kiss the babies. They're supposedly kissing babies tonight. Thank you, guys. There's those prayer emojis for Thomas and his mother, and Anthony and Andrew, his brothers, Anthony and Andrew. And thank you to everyone watching in the replay. Thank you, guys. I'm going to highlight some of these. Thank you, guys. Michelina, thank you for all you do. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you, guys. Love and respect from my house to yours. Peace.